Hello YouTubers, this is Cessnaace back again with another game ads video. I have a lot of ground to cover in this video, 40 games to be precise, for 7 or 8 different systems to be imprecise. While I have more games that are complete than I do that are loose cartridges, I'm going to start with the loose cartridges. And the first among them is a game for the Sega SC3000 and SG1000. Now, I said it that way instead of the other way around because most of the games that I have for the SG1000 say for SG1000 or SC3000, but this lists the SC3000 first. Now, I know there were some games that were released for the SC3000, which was a computer, that in order to play them on the SG1000, which was a console, you needed the keyboard peripheral. Well, I play my games on a Japanese Master System which doesn't have a keyboard. But this game plays just fine. If you blink, you'll miss the part, all the on-screen text, by the way, is in English, where it says press insert or delete for instructions. Other than that, I can't find any reason why you would need a keyboard to play this game. This is a pretty nifty platformer, I think. And it is called Hustle Chummy. Now, I quite enjoy this game. I had to clean the ROM several times to get it to run, but once I got it to run, I haven't had a problem with it since. I played this enough to where I got a high enough score that I felt comfortable submitting that score to highscore.com, which, by the way, I have 55 high score trophies there now, including 3 or 4 world records, which surprises me. Alright, moving on to the Atari 2600. This game is from iMagic, and I have found that finding loose cartridges from iMagic for the 2600 that are in decent condition, at least out in the wild, is getting to be quite difficult. On eBay, that can be a different story. But I got this at Game Over for $1. Moonsweeper. Now, you will notice, no doubt, that part of the spine label right there in the right corner is starting to come up, but other than that, this is in really nice shape. Alright, this is a game that is truly awful. I can attest to that because I tried playing it several times. It was released under 2 different names. This is the name it was released under by Atari themselves. Slot Racers. Although one of the cars there looks awfully similar to a classic Hot Wheels car. Anyway, I'm giving away my age. The version published by Sears was published under the title Maze. But other than that, the game is supposed to be identical. And unless you're a completist like I am, I wouldn't bother. Okay, this is a fairly decent game from Atari. Star Raiders. Some label damage. But other than that, in fairly passable condition. Okay, this one is interesting, and for a number of reasons. First of all, when I went to look it up in the Digital Press Collector's Guide, the one that covers systems of the Atari 2600 era, and by far the Atari 2600 system has the most coverage in that guide. There are over 2,000 non-US releases in there, for example. But in the US release section, this game wasn't listed. So I looked under non-US release, not listed. Homebrew, not listed. Prototype, not listed. Finally, I checked the rather large rumor mill section. Games rumored to maybe exist, but haven't been verified to exist. There, I found it. However, they had it being published by Data East. There was a little notation there that said, maybe same game published by Milton Bradley, which this one was. Why it wasn't in the main body, I don't know. But I can't tell you how rare it is because I can't look up the rarity rating on it. Now, it's a fairly interesting shooter. At least it was once I figured out how to play it. Survival Run. This one I got on eBay. And most of the loose cartridges that I have bought on eBay for the 2600 have been in really nice condition. Usually nicer than this even. Okay, here is another game that was released under two different titles. This one I got Game Over, and I didn't notice it until I got home, but it has tape, black tape that goes all the way around at the bottom of the cartridge. This is the version published by Sears. Target Fun. Although, I'm trying to remember what was the name that Atari published it under. I think an Air Sea Battles. Okay, from Activision. This one I got at Game Over for $1, and it needs to be cleaned a little bit. Tennis. Now this one I got on eBay. This is the last of the loose Atari 2600 cartridges. And this is a port of an arcade classic. One that I remember playing in the arcade. I don't recall whether I've ever played any other ports of it, but this port by Coleco is really good. I played it on my VCS and it's very playable. Time Pilot. Obviously licensed by Coleco from Konami. Let me give you this nice little grip area to pull the cartridge out. Okay, loose games for the NES. Airwolf. Cabal. The Legend of Cage. Okay, this is part of a series, and it's strange the way they've uh, titled it. This is Iron Sword, Wizards and Warriors 2. All of the other Wizards and Warrior titles for the NES, the title starts with Wizards and Warriors and then gives you another title, a subtitle, or whatever. But this one does it the reverse. This is an interesting shooter. Alternates between taking place above ground and beneath ground. Mag Max. You start off with what looks like a ship, and you slowly pick up parts and you become a robot. Mechanized attack. Getting near the end of the loose ones. Robocop. Tried this one and hated it. Snake, Rattle, and Roll. So I can't imagine that I'm going to be replaying it anytime soon. And then finally for the loose cartridges, Where's Waldo? Oh, wait a minute. There's one loose one for the Genesis. This is Galaxy Force 2. Okay, now move over to the boxed cartridge-based games. This is a homebrew for the 2600. I'm not going to spend any time on it because after playing it, I decided I didn't like it. Blinky Goes Up. It's a platformer. Enough said. Okay, for the 7800. This is a commercial release from back in the day. Centipede. Imagine someone in the marketing department. You can't put that on there. It's a programmer's inside joke. Okay, this is a homebrew for the 7800, which I think is a port of a game that, well, I'm not going to open it, but a game that originally came out for the ColecoVision. Frenzy. Okay, another commercial release for the 7800. This one is still sealed. Touchdown Football. It's new. By Electronic Arts. Okay, for the Genesis. Bonanza Brothers. Complete. Bugs Bunny in Double Trouble. Complete. This one cost me all of 95 cents. FIFA Soccer 96. Complete. Minty Fresh manual. Minty Fresh cartridge. Minty Fresh case. Okay. Normally I take a checklist with me because I have a list of all of my games and a couple of notebooks, and I forgot to do that this trip to Game Over, and got home and realized not only did I have this game already, I already had it complete. Last Battle. I believe this was a launch title in the US for the Genesis. Okay, picking up with the series they started on the NES. This is from Tengen, RBI Baseball 4. This one I picked up at Game Over for 95 cents. Complete. Okay, from Electronic Arts. Skitchin. This supposedly plays like Road Rash on rollerblades. It's appropriate then. It's from Electronic Arts. Manual. Various inserts. See, I'm not the only one who keeps that sort of thing. Okay, last one for the Genesis. This is from Electronic Arts. Super Baseball 2020. Thick case. No manual. Alright. Moving to the GameCube. My eldest daughter said, "Dad, why'd you get that one? We already have it." No, you already have it. This is mine. Disney's Donald Duck Going Quackless. Complete. This one, Game Over, had 2 copies, and the other one was, the case was all messed up, but they were the same price. This was only for the GameCube. Disney's Magical Mirror starring Mickey Mouse. Complete. Okay. Next we have the 3DO, the PlayStation, and the Dreamcast. While this is a Japanese release for the 3DO, this game was also released in the US. Alone in the Dark. In fact, it had a sequel, Alone in the Dark 2. Now, it is a good thing that the 3DO has internal memory, because I chose a season when I started playing this game, and I've just finished stage 1, which, if I remember correctly, was 22 games. This is a game that is licensed from the J-League, which is a Japanese soccer league. J-League Virtual Stadium from Electronic Arts. This is a really good game. I checked out Wikipedia, and Electronic Arts published another J-League game for the 3DO. There has been a J-League game on just about every system imaginable in Japan, including, beginning with, I believe, the Famicom. So there were 3 for the Famicom and 5 for the Game Boy. And they've progressed on through then, from there, whatever. This one, it will play in my system, but I can't figure out how to play it. It's a racing game from Copia System Limited. Because all of the text in the manual and on screen is in Japanese. Sometimes I'll call my youngest daughter, who's teaching herself Japanese and Korean and Mandarin and Cantonese, if she could help me with some of the stuff, but on some of the games I wouldn't ask her. Okay, I don't recall the name of this game, but it is a Mahjong title. A lot of those released in Japan. I'm sure I mentioned, this surprised me when I checked Wikipedia. There were a lot more games published for the 3DO in Japan than there were in the US. And the whole concept was from an American company, 3DO, of course, started by, I believe, the founder of Electronic Arts. what looks like stains are in fact like sketch art. Now, I had a copy of this one, but it was disgusting. And playing that J-League game got me interested in getting a decent copy, because the copy I had before came with my Gold Star 3DO, which I bought on eBay. It came with about 20 games, and while some were in good condition and some were factory sealed, in fact, the copy that I got for this one was really bad shape. So I have rectified that. FIFA International Soccer from EA Sports, the same company that made the J-League game. And although I couldn't read the directions on how to play the game using the controller, which button for which move, it was quite intuitive, and I found the game quite enjoyable. So, figured, well, replaced the copy I had and then threw away the old one, because the disc, even the disc, I wouldn't trust it inside my 3DO. Alright, moving on to the PlayStation. The Chessmaster 3D. Complete. This one features Tiger Woods. It's from Electronic Arts. And it is called Cyber Tiger. Now, you can start off, you can play as Little Tiger, Tame Tiger, or Cyber Tiger. Is that the one we have now? Because he's not a kid anymore. This is a fairly late release. I believe, well, 2002 is the copyright date on it. Anyway, Gobble. So the Dreamcast had already come and gone when this game was released for the PS1. Speaking of the Dreamcast, this is an online multiplayer game, 4x4 Evo. I don't know how I managed not to get this one already, because I have a lot of racing games for the Dreamcast. I need to get one of the steering wheel controllers for the Dreamcast. One or two players, VMU compatible, 40 blocks, online multiplayer, modem, race controller, keyboard, standard controller, VGA box. I have a VGA box. I also have a keyboard, but I don't have a steering controller. My brother does. Alright, Striker Pro 2000. He sure has been getting a lot of soccer games lately. That J-League Virtual Stadium did it. And finally, complete. This one is for 1 or 2 players, VMU compatible, race controller, VGA cord, standard controller. Alright. That should have been 40 games, and I have more coming. Until next time, stay awesome.